Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Brittany and I go through the tools and systems marketed to photographers. And then together we break them down to see what works and what might be a waste of your time. If that sounds helpful, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. Today, I'm going to be looking at another piece of the Lightfolio ecosystem, their website creator. I've previously checked out their client gallery and that experience was just okay. Truthfully, after I finished that one, I did need a break from Lightfolio to kind of recharge, but now I'm back and looking to see what I can accomplish with their website creator for $0. We're going to be going through this together so we can see how the tool actually behaves. The quirks, the limitations, whether the free tier can genuinely get us a fabulous website or not. By the end, we'll hopefully have a nice website and a good idea of if the Lightfolio website creator is a good option to build a photo web presence with. I will be working off of a template to get started, and the templates that Lightfolio offers have some varieties in style that I think a lot of users will appreciate. The amount of available templates, I would say, is a healthy amount. We're not scrolling all day through options, but I also don't feel limited in my selections. I did struggle to initially pick a template because I'm sort of picky, and when I see anything concerning with a template, I'm kind of turned off from it, but I'm also trying to work on trusting that any concerns I have can be corrected in the editor, so I'm just gonna go with this one and get to it. Since the issue I do have is with the visibility of this template's navigation, that's going to be the first item on my fix-it list. I know I can choose images that will work better with this header style, but I don't want to have to worry about that. And thankfully, the organization of the side panel for editing and various options is really well done. There's a logical hierarchy to how decisions would be made with clear labels for each area. So I can pop right into what I need and make adjustments, which in the case of the overlapping navigation is as simple as flipping off the absolute header toggle. Besides the header, the other two major areas I pay attention to are a bit more fun, at least in my opinion. It's the font and color choices. Again, they're clearly labeled so I know where to go right away, and within each there's some varying levels of choices to be made. We can make them as easy or as complicated as we want by either going with the pre-made combos with fonts and colors, or diving into things like individual font settings for the headers and paragraphs and changing specific color codes depending on the element. The other items in this sidebar all have a similar amount of decisions to be made, which is not a lot. For anything that gives us layout or design options, there's about 4 or 5 styles to pick from, and there's no micro adjustments following that decision, which does keep things super simple if you're not a website tinkerer, but could feel limiting if you are. On a universally awesome note, Lightfolio does give us access to SEO options like site title and description, which are really important to fill in for your site because otherwise Google will just auto-pull information off that page. And the title and description for your site can end up just not being what you want the page to convey. So having and staying in control of this is ideal. They also give you alt text fields for images, which is great for accessibility. This side panel area is also where our free tier limitations rear their little heads. We only get 5 site pages, 5 blog posts, we can't do custom code, and we can't set up analytics to track our traffic. Will these blockers keep me from setting up my free site? No, they won't. Will they at some point push me to upgrade depending on if I enjoy the crafting process? Yes, they will. Eventually, I'll want to separate gallery pages for the different photo genres I cover, more blog posts for SEO purposes, and analytics tracking through Google. But I don't need to do those things right away or even within the next couple of months, so we can flex our free account to our heart's content for now. This entire side panel area is all very straightforward, and I felt fairly settled on all these decisions within about 30 minutes of loading up this template. I probably could have cut that down by a handful of minutes because there's really not too much to look at here, but I like clicking around and I do get carried away with that sometimes. Digging into the actual visuals of the site, this template is pretty bare bones to start. The pages are a bit boring, and it doesn't come with an about page, which I do want to make sure I have. When adding that page, there are some page templates that come up that we can make use of. There's not that many page template options, especially if we check out the Other tab, which has nothing in it. And I'm just not really vibing with any of the pre-built pages, so I'm gonna start with a blank slate and really make this page exactly what I want. When we start working with adding blocks to our page, there's a bit of variety for us to check out. Much like the page templates, there's more organizational tabs than there are actual block options within each tab, but I think that's overall fine for these blocks. I'm able to mostly find configurations of blocks that I like that will present the information I'm looking to have on this page in a way that flows well. But there are some pitfalls with the blocks. The fine-tuning is pretty limited across the board, both in what the blocks can do and what settings we have access to. For the block and section settings, it's mostly just movement options, some theme colors, and occasional image/content settings. As for the blocks themselves, we can drag and drop elements within a block. So if I want to move text to be above an image that it's sharing design space with, I can do that. But we can't add elements to or from other block types. For example, I wanted a call to action with a button that links to my contact page. I found a text layout I liked in an article block, set the colors, but then I realized there's no way to add a button element inside that block container so that it would all be together as one. I tried dragging a button block into the article block and no luck. Eventually, I figured out a workaround, format the text in the article block, then copy-paste that text into the button block. It's a bit of a hassle because once the text is in the button block, all the formatting options disappear. So there's trial and error to get it right before copying it over. But I am glad I was able to create this sort of basic call to action. That said, anything more complicated and I'd probably just grab something that's close enough and call it a day. Also, I'm pretty sure that that's the most amount of times I've ever said the word block. I did want to create a full website using Lightfolio because I wanted to see how long it would genuinely take to make. So I went through, carefully thought and placed the blocks in the way that I would want on each page, crafted my own written content for blocks that required text, and picked out images or made some visuals. I was able to complete my entire 5-page website in about 2 hours, with 27 minutes of that dedicated to placing, deleting, placing again, stressing out, and then executive decisioning my blocks in just the right spots. 56 minutes spent agonizing over what to say about myself and my work for all my content blocks, and 37 minutes taken to copy and paste all my text, upload and organize my images so that they fit the blocks in the way I was hoping. I found the entire website creation process in Lightfolio to be fun and quick a majority of the time, a bit goofy at random times, and then occasionally I would squint really hard at the screen and perplexly say, huh? A perfect example of that was when I was creating sections on the gallery page as a way to show how we can maximize our 5-page limit without sacrificing our display or having to upgrade the site before we're ready. When I placed another gallery block under the first one I had, and then went into that second gallery block to remove the broken demo links, it started removing the images from the gallery block above it. The only way this wouldn't happen is if I moved the gallery I was wanting to edit to the top of the page, made my changes, and then moved it back down to where it was originally placed. It's clunky and weird, but I am pretty relieved that there was a workaround. Overall, I feel pretty proud of what I was able to create utilizing almost all of the prefabricated templates and blocks that Lightfolio provides. There's places where we can finagle things here and there, but for the most part, as a free user, the templates and blocks that we see are the ones we get and making them ours is up to the words and imagery that we choose. I don't think there's ever going to be a replacement for a specialized web designer, wordsmith, and developer custom creating your site, but when you're running the show yourself, you have to work with where you are at that very moment. And Lightfolio provides a fine launching pad to get yourself out there in the Webiverse quickly and fairly easily. It is not flawless, but it is an affordable and beautiful option to get you going while you potentially save up for a future rebrand. Let me know if you are a Lightfolio website user and how your experience has been with them. I'd love to check out your site too, so if there's a way for it to not look like spam, drop your business website in the comments. I know that this was a bit information heavy at times, and there might be an element you were hoping I would touch on that I did not. If that has happened, I totally encourage you to use my video as a visual roadmap to the system so you can get in there already familiar with the basics and get to testing the elements you're curious about. Thank you so much for tuning in to this look at what we can do for free with a Lightfolio website. I had a much better time with my second adventure into Lightfolio, and I hope you did too. Feel free to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you can be alerted whenever I release something new. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.